We're returning now to our top story, and as those stuck in Gaza desperately await humanitarian aid, 20 trucks are set to arrive in the enclave today with food and water after a deal was struck between Egypt and the US to open the Rafah crossing. Well, our press reviewer Leo McGuinn is in studio with me now. Leo, just talk to us a little bit about how this news has been reported in the Arab press.
Millions in Gaza are, of course, awaiting aid that should begin to trickle through today. I'll start by showing you the New Arab, which is a London-based Arabic publication. They say besieged Palestinians await aid trucks. This emergency aid, of course, promised by US President Joe Biden after a deal was struck between the US and Egypt. As this piece explains, cargo planes have already delivered stock such as food and medicine to El Arish airport, which is just 50 kilometres from the Gaza border. They're, of course, waiting for the Rafah border crossing to open, which is supposed to happen sometime today. This explainer piece in Al Aram, which is Egypt's paper of record, takes us through just how bringing that aid into Gaza would work. They say 20 trucks would cross into Gaza to provide the much-needed aid. But the problem, according to the humanitarian organisations, is it just isn't enough. According to the UN, they say a minimum of 100 trucks are needed to support the millions of civilians in the enclave. They also report that 500 trucks had been entering Gaza every day before the crossings were cut off. It's also important to note that while Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has confirmed that Israel won't thwart supplies coming in to Gaza, his government has only agreed to allow food, water and medical supplies, not other much-needed supplies like fuel, whereas a UN report says that Gaza really need that fuel because often it's used in desalination plants and water pumps and they can no longer operate. We'll look at the Jerusalem Post. They say that the aid from Egypt is unlikely to raise spirits in the region. Aid agencies have already said that delays in agreeing the relief shipments has already cost the lives of many Palestinians. They also report that the WHO have called the aid convoy just a drop in the ocean of need. This, of course, comes at a time where an Israeli ground invasion on the territory is imminent, according to many sources.
Leo, you're taking us now to China. And you found an interesting piece detailing Beijing's advances in deep-sea mining. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is a long read in the Washington Post this morning, and it explains that China is very much winning the race to the bottom of the ocean, as they put it. In 2019, they won a contract which gives them access to over 28,000 square miles in the Pacific Ocean between Japan and Hawaii. The contract gives them exclusive rights to explore for what are called polymetallic nodules in layman's terms. Basically, they're golf ball-sized rocks which have crucial metals in them, such as nickel and copper, amongst others. This article explains how Beijing is really keen to get a jump on the industry of deep-sea mining, which is expected to grow and grow over the coming years. They already hold 5 of 30 exploration licenses, more than any other country, and their plan is to start deep-sea mining 2025 at the latest, and when that begins, China will have exclusive right to excavate 92,000 square miles of international seabed. Just to put that in context, that's around the size of the United Kingdom. This article explains that this is all part of Xi Jinping's long-term plan of transforming China into a global superpower that has no reliance on the West. It has also been about overturning the traditional international order dominated, of course, by the West. Let's go back to those actual nodules. I want to show you in the Washington Post. They show what one looks like. It contains rare earth metals, and basically robotic vehicles will be sent down as deep as 18,000 feet to the seafloor, where they'll slowly vacuum up these nodules and pump them up to a ship on the surface. The elements gained from the nodules would be particularly important in manufacturing military and space equipment. And if China can take the lead in seabed mining, this is what one expert said, it will really have a lock on access to all the key minerals for the 21st century green economy.
Well, he's making headlines from beyond the grave. A familiar face making a return to the papers this morning. Leo, tell us what that's about.
Yeah, Sharon, back in the news. You can't keep him out. 4 months after his death, Silvio Berlusconi making headlines once again. This time, it's about his huge art collection, which is causing his family a little bit of trouble. According to this piece in Le Temps, which is a Swiss newspaper, he owned over 25,000 paintings, but it's a collection that's been widely mocked by art critics, and the vast collection is causing a bit of a problem for his descendants. The late tycoon bought most of the paintings from late-night telesales programme, and according to one expert, there's about 6 or 7 of value out of 25,000. The entire collection is estimated at around 20 million euros, which seems like a lot, but averages out at just €800 a painting. There are some high-quality works amongst the collection, but most of them are rather crude or crass paintings, such as one painting of a woman which depicts the Mona Lisa topless. And the problem for his family is that this collection is housed in a huge warehouse, and just to keep the upkeep of that, it's €800,000 a year. Some have called for some sort of Berlusconi museum to be created with €25 entry. I don't know, Sharon, that seems like pretty good value for money. For 25,000 paintings, I think I'd pay that.
Leo, thank you so much for that. That's Leo McGuinn.